The power of men yielding in relationships. Hey, this is a dynamic conversation full of gems and nuggets. Many times men are portrayed to be masculine in relationships. They're portrayed to be the leaders, the ones on the front line, the ones sacrificing it all. But what does it look like for men to get in touch with their soft side, right? To really yield in a relationship whenever they're with a woman and who's on a solid foundation, and what trust and vulnerability, and really looking at that relationship from an open lens. Today, we are really, really getting into the meat of the bone and what that looks like. And we're talking about what marriage looks like for somebody who is young, Black, and married, right? So we really want to have a dynamic, multi-layered conversation that is full of nothing but wisdom, nuggets, and gems. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and we hope you enjoyed today's conversation. Much love.
For my brothers never had an ear to hear them. These the bricks for our sisters help us build it. If I could be a black fly on the wall, I can hear and see it all and have the mind of a god. Black, 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 black. Fly, 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 fly. Black, black, black.
Welcome to another episode of Black Fly on the Wall. It's your boy Lod. I am your host. Got some amazing, extraordinary gentlemen here with me today. Some familiar faces that you may have seen before. But I got my boy Sam here, co-host. Sam, introduce yourself, my man.
What's going on, y'all? Sam, Master and the Man, YouTube, entrepreneur, all that good stuff. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got a familiar face. You be seeing him soon on Groomcake. But I'm my boy Mario, man. Mario, introduce yourself, my man.
Mario Reed, Mr. Reed on Instagram, lifestyle, fashion, DIY, husband, engineer, businessman, relatable, whatever.
You see them t-shirts popping on your screen? Coming on the screen, you already know what time it is.
Oh, man, I appreciate y'all for real.
Going crazy on the content, for sure. And to my right, y'all know who he is. My boy TJ. Introduce yourself, my man.
Yes, sir. It's your boy TJ Leak to be exact. Where do I start? I guess Dope Brunch, Melanin Affair. We do the event coordinator by night, corporate America by day. But glad to be here, man. Thank you for the invite.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
Glad to be in the presence of excellence, man. They going crazy out here. I just tell you.
I think this is the first time I sat with you not in a section.
Yo, you might be right. Actually.
Hey, Black Fly sections? Who trying to stop?
Black Fly section.
Like it.
I like that.
What you can section?
That.
Yeah, that's a Black Fly section.
But nah, man, I think the conversations off camera definitely got us warmed up.
100%.
Charged up for this conversation.
For sure, sir.
But with this particular conversation, the power of men yielding in relationships. So earlier we were talking about relationships, how many times the word relationship pops up and boom, you go automatically to my wife, my girlfriend, my fiance, that type of thing. But many times, like, life is all about navigating through relationships. And you have moments and times where you say, you know what, in order to achieve what I want to achieve in order to maintain this relationship that I like the most, this is the time where I got to fall back. I need to listen more. I need to be humble. I need to be respectful, whether that's with your mom, your dad, grandparents, sisters, siblings, brothers, no matter what it be, business partners, right? Like, you always have to look at it from the perspective of, all right, maybe I need to calm down. Maybe I need to look at this from another perspective, and the benefit that you get from yielding in relationships. Now, the first relationship that we're going to cover is the wives.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Clap it up for the wives. Clap it up for the wives.
Because we're not here without them.
So, TJ, what does it look like whenever you yield in a relationship, you and your wife's relationship? What does that look like? What does that look like for you? For the people who don't know, like, the inner workings of you and your wife's relationship, they see you on Instagram, they see you at Dope Brunch, they see you at all of your events, and they have this perception of who you are and what kind of husband you may be. But inform the community, inform the world of what yielding looks like for you and your marriage.
Man, that's a crazy question. But I think it's just about time and just being able to take a listen, being able to have that open ear. It's always situations like me, I move around a lot. Like, not only do I do parties, not only do I do corporate America, account executive, but I also have like rental properties and things of that nature that I have to manage. Like, so like the day I don't really have much time to waste. So just being able to listen and pay attention to her, you got to be attentive. Like, yeah, it's been a lot of situations where it's just like, yo, let me just sit back and stop right now and just pay all attention to her.
Right.
Put the phone down, put whatever's going on down.
And that's hard.
Yeah, it's hard because you really don't have a lot of time to waste, but it's just not even waste, but you don't have time to just spare. Yeah, exactly. It's just like, let me just pay attention to her. So I put the phone down. Like yesterday, I texted her. I'm like, yo, Thursday's date night. Get something cute. We going out. Like, got her tickets to my cousin's show. Just trying to find ways to make sure that she's accounted for and that she actually is appreciated. Because if you don't appreciate your woman, I don't know what you're doing.
Right.
But it's just, it's, I don't know. Just
They're the ones that keep the glue.
yeah. But having that ear, it's like, and then also like when I'm tripping, she'll actually tell me like, yo, you tripping right now.
She know you.
Yeah, she knows me. Yeah. So it's just like, just being able to listen, like I think that's the best thing for a relationship for me.
Having that ear.
That's what works. Yeah.
For sure. Rio, what does it look like for you? What does Jordan look like in your marriage? Man, listening piece is heavy. I can be a know-it-all at times. And even something as simple as her coming to me with a problem and me stopping and asking, do you want a solution to this problem or do you just want somebody to listen to the problem? Because I'm immediately just, we're going to fix this. So I got every solution you need. I'm going to help you. But that might not be what she's looking for at the time. Right. So yielding for me is turning down that pride of being the Superman, being a problem solver, just being whatever it is that she needs in that moment. And that took a while for me to learn. And I, after talking to other married men, also go through the same thing. Like, we want to be counting problems, trying to be Superman. Like,
We all live in the same line.
yeah, kind of holding you down and stuff. But sometimes they just want you to shut up and just be. Yep. That's what it's like,
Bro, I think presence is key.
Yep.
Like whenever you just there, they appreciate that the most.
Mm-hmm.
Like just watching what we watched, the Cat Williams, just watching together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, I think they appreciate that the most.
Yeah.
That's why it's so hard to give them that, because we know what they appreciate it the most. And like you said, sometimes you just got to put your phone down, but you don't realize how much access we get from our phone. You can check on all your businesses from your
100%.
You know what I mean? So it's like just being able to separate from the two, even for like a minute, 10 minutes, an hour. They like, I know what it took for you to do that, so I appreciate that. You know?
And, the funny thing about it too is like, it's in the hemisphere of marriages, and especially you hear other men. It ain't no different from a man that make $15 million a year. It's one of them the same. You can make you can watch 5 million, you can make 15 million, 25 million. We all got friends that play professional sports. They all tell us the same thing. Their women want their time. You know what I'm saying? They want that exclusivity. They want those moments of just you being able to just decompress and kind of let loose from everything else and focus 100% on them. And I think that is something that you have to master, right? Like you have to understand that, hey, something happen with these businesses, your woman is still going to be there. You know what I'm saying? She's always going to be there holding you down. When there's a dip in the income or the revenue of something that's going on, that's probably going to be your most closest person for you that you're going to talk to and get an unbiased perspective on the situation that you're dealing with. You call your homeboys, well, many times they're going to give you good advice, but sometimes it may be also relatable to who they are, what they got going on, and how that then coincides with you. It's kind of like a blind effect, you know what I'm saying? They really can't give you unbiased feedback. They're going to give you great feedback, but it can't be unbiased. And so the great thing about having a solid woman is really being able to have somebody to really lay up off of and kind of really pick her brain and really see, like, and also from a woman's perspective, which is always going to be unique. What does this look like?
Yeah.
You know, like how can you paint this picture for me? Sam, what does vulnerability look like in your marriage?
Ooh, peeling that layer back, man. It's crazy because like when you think about relationships, you think about marriage. This is somebody you vetted, right? You took intentional time. You aligned on certain values. You really came to this person like, we are connected. I trust you. You trust me. But yet we still have that Superman complex. And it's like, I want to be this and I want to provide. But it's like, you have to trust that person to do the things that you chose them for. You know what I mean? So for me, it was like finances, right? You know, because you always hear, oh, men's supposed to lead, protect. He's supposed to take care of the finances. But she might be better at it. You know what I mean? She might just can teach you something. But in doing that and really layering back on understanding what she knows about finances, what I know, bringing that together, now she has even more trust in letting me handle the finances. You know what I mean? Because she knows I understand what she thinks about it. We've aligned on it. So that layering back and just opening up and saying, okay, why did I choose this person? And really trusting your decision in choosing that person and saying, okay, let me see what they got and bring it to the table and let's bring our table together. So
Absolutely. I like that. I think too, like the ability to be vulnerable in a relationship kind of allows you to reduce your amount of control that you have, and you kind of let things be free flowing. Like Bruce Lee he used to have a saying of, you should be like the ocean, just going with the flow, essentially. Allowing, when it comes to life, yes, you have a framework that you operate in, but also too, many times you realize that you really can't get over that hump because you're so rigid in the way that you think and the things that you do. So if you're a lot more free flowing with your actions and you allowing the universe to send you whatever resources you need for you to be successful, that means that you're just being overall just open to new concepts, philosophies, ideals, people, right? The person that gives you a business loan, or the person that introduced you to a real estate partner or whomever it may be, may not look like what you thought they were going to look like, right? Because you could have been missing out on that blessing because you were so focused on this is how it's going to come to me. But instead of just being free flowing and open minded to whatever the universe sends to you, you can sometimes miss out on things. And I think that level of vulnerability, especially within our relationships, really pushes us to kind of apply that outside of marriage too. So CJ, I was going to ask you, like, what are some business things that you realize what are some things that you picked up in your marriage that help you in your business? It can be with communication, it can be with active listening, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, I think that ties back into the last question about vulnerability, because being able to be vulnerable with my wife helped me out a lot. Because, like, I started a dump truck business. I don't know if y'all knew about that, but I had a dump truck business and it was terrible, bro. Like, it was very, I would not recommend.
it was a dump.
Yeah. To the crowd out here, do not do a dump truck business. It was the worst time of my life. But just being able to be vulnerable and just like let my wife know, like, hey, I don't have it right now. Like, can you help out? Boom, boom, boom. Like, boom. And she stepped up like no other. Yeah, bro. I was like, yo,
waiting for her moment. She's like,
dope. Yeah.
She's like, I'm about to show.
Yeah, and standing ovation.
Yeah.
Oscar, Gravy, all that, bro. It was dope. So just learning that and being able to be vulnerable, to learn, stay in your lane. Basically, that's what it taught me. Like, stay in your lane, stay with what you know. If you're jumping into a new business, like, do it, give it your all, fail and fail fast, as Denzel Washington says, fail and fail fast. I failed and I failed fast. 6 months, I was out of there. But it taught me to stay in my lane. And now, as far as moving forward with business, I am staying in my lane and just like leaning on my wife as far as like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? As far as marketing, she does all my marketing for me. So it's just like, it taught me like, really who's your team and like who to stick with and like stay in your lane, man. That's about it. Yeah.
And the real, I was going to ask you as well, like when it comes down to vulnerability, has being too vulnerable in your past relationships, has that helped you or hurt you? How does that really factor to it? Because sometimes men have an issue with being vulnerable because they were vulnerable in the past and they feel like it bit them. So how has that affected your vulnerability now in your marriage? Man, both for sure. To answer the question, been bitten by being vulnerable, both with friends and with past lovers. So I mean, let's be honest. We talk about the stigma with men and masculinity and manlyhood, but that comes from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably 70% of it, your pops telling you need to be a man if you had a pops. But then there's still 30% that's experience, where you expose yourself to a woman and open your feelings up and you get rejected or you get shut down. So you build up this wall, right? So I've experienced the wall part in past relationships, but to the point that both Sam and TJ was making, my wife was somebody who allowed me to be vulnerable, who allowed me to be whatever it is I wanted to be without ever feeling like there was a consequence for that.
Right.
And that built up a confidence that made me go, out of here. Right?
Bro, you
That
feel like you
confident
can do anything.
can't do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I say it's kind of both to that point. I've experienced that in my past, but my wife, shit, like, ain't nothing I can't do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the beauty of it. So taking the positive, which is, what my wife's giving me, you got this newfound confidence, whether it be your business, whether it be your career, whether it be friendships. I'm just thinking back to even these interactions, right? There's a point in my life where I wasn't confident enough to even go be amongst cool men and build healthy relationships and stuff like that that had nothing to do with whoever I met. It had everything to do with just
Who you were internally.
Exactly. But you get somebody around you who really just pouring into you, who really just reiterating who they see you to be, who they know you truly are. That's invaluable.
And another thing too is you don't have to impress anybody anymore. Like, not saying you shouldn't impress your wife, but you've impressed her. So everything you do is just added bonus for her. She like, I knew my man could do that. But to the world, I'm not living for y'all no more. I ain't got to do nothing.
Already got it.
The crib is already locked down. I don't need to do nothing for y'all no more. Now I'm limitless. Now I can just go out here and work and do what I want to do.
Yeah, and two is like, it opens your mentality on like what's the worst that they can.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I've seen.
My dad has that.
I've seen one of the worst. Like,
It's simple. Like my dad has the saying like, what's the worst thing that can happen? Like it sounds cliche, but it's like when you really apply that question to your problem, ask yourself, what's the worst thing that can happen? Was like you lose a couple thousand, okay, you make 10 tomorrow.
Yeah.
I got
She say no.
$2, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, it was real.
it happened. Hey, but then you also keep the mentality of, I make $32 work. What's
Yeah.
the worst thing that can happen?
Yeah.
And that's how that's how I look at it now. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, all
Hey,
right.
the next time I get money, I'm gonna vitally appreciate it. Yeah. Make sure I do what I have to do so that I never feel this experience again. But what's the worst thing that can happen? It kind of adds like a funny layer to like a real serious problem.
Yeah.
And I always recommend when like my wife was interviewing for something recently, and I said, "Yo, one thing that I do before I go into any big interview or meeting is that I get on YouTube and I find something and I laugh at it. I make sure that it's good too." Terrio from back in the day. Can't wait.
Terrio cutting up.
Like
Terrio in the gym.
find you a Cat Williams interview, with Shannon Sharp. Like whatever you need to do, find you something to laugh at, break that down, then go into it, tell yourself who you are, walk in there with confidence and get it done.
Yeah.
And I think that having that flexibility and that relationship, man, just shifts your perspective from zero to nothing.
If I may offer something, point, right? I don't know how many people out there have been on interviews where you're actually interviewing with the CEO or the owner of the company.
Oh, yeah.
So 9 times out of 10, the person you're interviewing has not started this company. They got a job just like you got a job.
Yeah.
So a lot of people get intimidated. I can't shop at Louis Vuitton. I can't shop at Gucci or whatever. Them people that's in there got jobs. Like they need you just as much as you need them, right? So to the point of it being mental, to the point of confidence.
Break it down. Make it simple.
You make it simple. You realize, bro, we all humans on this earth. We all got a purpose. We all got a reason for being here. Yes, there is some nervousness that comes with it. CEO try to come ask you a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
But the person who's interviewing you went through the same process you went through.
Absolutely.
So they are no better, no greater than you. Believe in yourself and go do what you got to do.
And too, and many times too, you can look at it and relate to the point of like, imagine what an interview process is for a CEO. You know what I mean? Like this person that's interviewing me went through an interview process, but he got interviewed probably 5 to 6 rounds, including like a board of trustees interview as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then not a background check, but a deep dive into a background check of who your family is. How do you run your household? Where do you go to church? Where do you go? What are you Jewish? What synagogue do you go to? Who do you socialize with? Who do you play golf with? It's a heavy deep dive because they're entrusting you
As a face.
the face of that particular company. And I think that same mentality can be taken into your marriage. It's like, you don't want to do out there that's going to embarrass your name or your home. So you have to always make sure that your own brand with whoever you are to make sure that you're upholding the values of whatever your home has established. And as the man, as the leader has established as well. Yeah. So I think too, like even transitioning from vulnerability, man, it's like, it also dives. And one thing that kind of correlates with that is trust, right? I think that comes before the vulnerability because you feel like you must deep dive and trust the individual with sacred. I mean, sometimes the information that you provide them, you may have never told anybody before,
Mm-hmm.
but that's the softness that a woman can bring to you as a man to really unlock your truest potential. So until you really put trust in your woman and then allow that vulnerability to happen, it's a challenge for that to happen. Real,
why do you feel like many times men have trust issues going into marriage, especially for us? Like we're millennials, and so it's like when you think about some of your friends, it's kind of like many times you can be in a room and you be the only one that's married. When you really think about it, you many times may have a lot of single homeboys, a lot of single homegirls, or they come into you for relationship advice because you're the married. That's the title that you get. So clearly you want that made. Yeah, you're the one that made it, right? Or you the one that's still married.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? that's another one too. So, what has been your process, Rio, with trust from the past until how you've matured now into your firm? Definitely a multi-dimensional question. I won't speak for all men, but I will give a story about me and my wife specifically. The reason I'm married today was because we got into a situation where I believe in God, I'm a believer. I feel like God told me you can trust this person. Ultimately, that's what led me in her direction and us getting married. And for somebody like me who probably like most men had past experience where trust issues with women based on things they were seeing going on, based on things that happened to them, trust issues with friends, moving flaw, choosing women over them, like just somewhat bitter, somewhat battered, somewhat just not really trusting anybody, but also trying to be a people pleaser, someone who led with love and getting scarred over that. I needed a higher power to tell me, no, you can trust this person, focus on them. That was me personally. If many people out there are listening, they may not be as deep into it as that. So I would say trust is the foundation, no questions asked. Trust will lead you to be vulnerable with somebody. Trust will lead you to obviously get to that next level of your life. Talking about confidence, like how can you really be confident if you with somebody that you don't trust? You always gonna second guess something. Either gonna second guess yourself, or you're gonna spend your time second guessing them. And that ultimately is just gonna decrease your quality of life. Absolutely. So to speak on myself specifically, that was the start. Me and my wife, for real. Because it was to a point where you can either be single or you can choose to go down this dating journey. God spoke to me and said, look, trust this woman. You need to invest your time with this woman. Led me to where I am today.
It comes down to, again, that like you're second guessing somebody's trust because you might not know them. You know what I mean? And you broke it down. CEO interview, they're doing a deep dive on everything. And that's what you do when you're dating. But I feel like sometimes today we don't deep dive enough, right? We learn enough to say, okay, I can deal with this person for 3 months. But I think when you're in a marriage or you pursue a marriage, you going all, what was your first birthday like? What was the second one like? Like, I need to know everything as much as I can so that I can fully let you know about me too, because I feel like as men, we hold a lot of stuff back, especially the stuff that hurt us or the stuff that we're still, like you said, battered from. I might tell you about it, but I ain't tell you about it. Like, I ain't tell you how I felt about it. I told you it happened. But yeah. Now I'm gonna tell you about it. And now we can break it down. Now we can get past it. Like, so you gotta actually know somebody to trust them. Like,
absolutely. Yeah, man. And I think too, that's led to, I think whenever you are able to be vulnerable and establish that trust, you're able to establish mutual respect. Like, I think, even for me, like you're in a fraternity, I'm in a fraternity. It's kind of like you could be in a fraternity with somebody and they be like a casual person that you know, but your line brothers, whenever you all have went through certain things, not even just being online, but also stages in life, and they're able to confide to you, and at a certain level, that trust then opens up that vulnerability and say, bro, you know what? Like I went through the same thing too. Where okay, now you all have something in common. But if you gatekeep your experiences, right?
Yeah.
Like because you're afraid to be vulnerable, or you're afraid that people are no longer going to look at you like cool TJ that does the parties, or Rio that has the content going crazy. Like you will never really be able to really humanize yourself to a point where people can say, you know, I relate to him on a personal level. And many times, like when we're deep diving into who we are, we many times brand our businesses, but we don't brand ourselves personally. Like, what is your personal brand? Like, what are the foundations or the building blocks of yourself? Is trust? Is it vulnerability? Is it being able to bond with men and women who have a similar thought process as you? What are the things that you stand on within your brand of your personal self? And this can just be a personal mission, right? It doesn't have to be anything that you put on the gram or TikTok or that you even vocalize, but those mornings or those nights that you're working on yourself, you're journaling, you're writing down your goals, you're going over your 2-week plans, 3-month plan, 6-month plan, 1-year plan. You also got to include like what are the personal things that you are going to work on, because those things also transition into your marriage.
Right.
So if you vulnerable and you trustworthy with your boys, that'll then flow and permeate into your marriage as well.
Yeah.
I got a question, not to like get off here, but being a Black Fly on the Wall veteran,
There you go.
I consider myself. I would like to think I
Gotta get on that level.
My experience with Black Fly on the Wall, I've never came and left without actually learning something from him. So this conversation we've been having is loosely based on marriage and significant other relationships, but to the root of it, how would you guys apply everything that we've said to your relationship with your parents? Like what you've learned from your parents, what's been learned behavior versus what you've had to change? And not to get into the generational curse conversation is not what I'm doing, but like some of the stuff
from is what makes
Right.
who you are.
like a lot of the stuff I can tie back to things I never learned from my pops
Oh, so
that I'm still trying to teach my parents to this
but
day.
don't life dress it up like that though? Like in the Disney movies, they dress it up like you're gonna get this Mr. Miyagi treat me your entire youth.
Yeah.
Every day is gonna be a lesson. You're gonna sit down cross-legged style. You're gonna learn all of these things. You're gonna learn manifestation, all of this stuff. And then at 18, when you go up to college, you're gonna be godlike.
Right.
Yeah.
And life is not like that. Like
18, you a baby.
life be life, and then life be life, you know?
Yeah.
So I'd answer that too. Like I say, like I address my mom. Like my mom has really shaped and molded me. Many of the characteristics that the world sees is what my mom has molded into. I think having that mentality of like accountability is the first thing that I think that I have really, really gained, right? And early on, I think I learned about myself whenever I'm talking about like 8, 9 years old, is that if you give me accountability, I hold myself to the highest standard of. So I'm a real black and white person. So if this metric or this objective needs to be met, it's pretty black and white to me, whether it was met or it wasn't. So like I'm a non-excuse person, and my mom was a non-excuse person. If she say, take that chicken out,
The chicken.
and that garage is coming up, but you ain't take that chicken out, you coming in, you know what I'm saying? You're hopping off the couch. You trying to figure out a way. You running some hot water.
Yeah.
You trying to make it be like, oh, he ain't throw out yet.
Yeah.
You trying to make it happen because there's no excuses. So
Yeah.
I'll say my mom really gave me that toughness. I would say to the tough mental fortitude to really look at life like, are you achieving or are you not?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, are you either getting it or you're not? Are you holding yourself to a standard or you're not? And then what is it? And then how can you adjust from that? I would say my dad's stuff that he taught me was more so from the fact that we got the same DNA. So like, well, many people at the wedding that met my pops, they were like, yo, he was like, y'all knew that was your dad when you walked through the airport.
Yeah.
They was like, y'all saw your dad in the airport. I'm like, you never met my dad. You never seen my dad. He was like,
Oh, I seen him.
I knew it was your pops. Like he walked through the airport, aviators on,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Drip down. That's just who he is. And like, I think I learned a lot of those things from him as far as just charisma. But then I was also like lucky enough to have like a bonus father who was my uncle who passed away. And really I learned like the fine-tuned, polished details about myself. Attire, suit fitting, like etiquette, networking, like how to run a business meeting, like those hardcore principles that you can sometimes be taught as a young man. Like I learned a lot of those things from my uncle. How do I speak? How do I communicate? Emotional intelligence, all of that stuff. I was able to gain like that bonus experience from him. And so I think like your experiences with your parents is just like a culmination of who you are. And then you can kind of fine tune it and make it what you need it to be as you progress and as you shape. Like maybe your mom and your dad is still something in you. You're like, man, I don't like it. But you have the autonomy to really be able to make the decision and be like, you know what, I don't like that. Let me tweak this a little bit about myself.
Yeah.
And really make that happen.
But I learned, I think, from my relationship with my parents, and I'll speak mostly from my dad's side, I learned to break down a situation, right? That's the same thing I did with my wife. I broke it down, find out who she is internally, her past, stuff like that. So my dad wasn't really around when I was growing up for a long time, hated it. You know what I mean? Hated him, didn't want nothing to do with him. And I think that's a common thing for a lot of Black people who don't have a father present. We like, I don't need bro. I'm sure that I don't need him, you know what I mean? But when I really broke it down to who he was at 20, multiple kids, having a kid with somebody he's not with, You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm looking at it a little different. You know what I mean? Now, had it been his wife and somebody he wasn't around, I'm like, okay, that's a whole different situation.
Right.
But you know what I mean? So not making an excuse for him, but I also understood that he was at a different place that he had to navigate at 20. You know what I mean? And that grace allowed me to build that relationship because I knew the situation just a little bit better. But you don't know stuff unless you ask. And even with my mom, like having to be there for her so long and learning to trust her to live on her own, like that was a hard thing. Cause I'm like, man, I'm just so used to it. I'm just so used to being here. I'm just so used to it. I'm just so used to it. But you lived your life to get you to this point, and I gotta trust that you can continue to live your life to get to this point. And that's the same thing we do in our marriage. It's like your wife has lived a life until y'all got together. Now that y'all are together, she's still gonna live her life. You know what I mean? And I gotta trust you to live your life and have a life and bring your life to me, and we'll discuss it at our table. You know what I mean? And that'll make us stronger because I'm living a life too. And I'm gonna bring my life to you and we're gonna grow together like that. So that's how like my parents have like shaped how I look at relationships in both negative and positive lights. But yeah.
Peep the background, man. You know where we at. We're at Grindhouse Studios in Charlotte, North Carolina. Black Fly on the Wall's new home, by the way. Make sure you tap in with Grindhouse Studios at grindhousestudios.com. Learn more about their offerings and what they have and what they're bringing to the Charlotte community. And not only Charlotte, but the North Carolina community. So for my creatives in Raleigh, Charlotte, Durham, Fayetteville, wherever, from the West to the East Coast, make sure you tap in with Grindhouse Studios and book your studio time right now and let them know that Black Fly on the Wall sent you. Much love.
What you, TJ?
Man, my parents, I guess I learned everything from my parents, just having a stable home, just trying to have that for my kids. I think that's the reason why I don't have any kids right now. Just like I want to make sure everything is perfect for the future. And I know you're never gonna be ready to have kids or whatever they say. Congrats to you.
Somebody asked me yesterday, you ready? I said, I better be.
You was ready that night.
Hey, took part in that, sir. But yeah, man, so it's just like trying to make sure that my kids in the future have a stable life and are set. I don't want my kids to want for anything. Like, I didn't want for anything when I was a kid. Like it was smooth growing up. Like even though you have issues in the family, whatever, at the end of the day, the kids are always taken care of. So I commend my dad for that. But yeah, I mean, my parents, they made the blueprint for me.
Can I ask TJ, because what you said sounds financial. What about the emotional? Like, or did you feel?
Oh yeah, nah. As far as the emotional, bro, it definitely took a toll on me. Like my dad he is the breadwinner, always been. But as far as being there, you know, they say to be with a man that's making money, he's never gonna be around. My dad wasn't. I mean, he's around, but he was always at work as well. So it's just like
It's a price that you pay.
Yeah, it's a price.
Lifestyle.
Yeah, but you gonna pay for that.
So if your kids never want for nothing, but they want time, how you get on time?
Bro, I ain't gonna lie. And that's a problem that I also still have to this day. Like, I didn't have the most time with my dad, but me and my dad is tight as I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's like, you always want that time back.
Yeah.
But it's still a thing where it's like, if my dad was there, then
who knows what? Yeah.
So like scenario, your lovely wife says, come to you and say, TJ, we having a kid.
Yes, sir.
So in 9 months,
that boy smiling already.
Nah.
That boy smiling about hypothetical.
No way.
So like, let's say in 9 months, your life is going to change.
Mm-hmm.
How do you insert your child into corporate America, dope brunch?
Oh, bro, I've already been working on
Melanin. How does that look like for you? If you could paint that picture.
Everything is almost automated. I've almost got everything set to where I want it, to where the money's gonna come in. I don't have to do anything. I believe in, like, if you have the automation, you're good. Like, so I'm almost there. Once I get there, and then we'll start having kids. I have the house that I want. Have a couple that we're renting right now. So it's just like once the once you have to have finances. Like, if you don't have finances, you don't have anything. But we're almost to the point where it's like, all right, cool. We're going to make it happen. Because my thing is, I want to make sure I'm taking my kids to school. I want to pick them up from school. I want to be at every game. My dad was like, he was at some of the games, but he was not at all of them. I want to be there for everything, bro. And I get that from just growing up from family.
That is a good question. So, like, especially, so all of us being married, do you feel like it's important for, and TJ, just going off of what you're saying now, having this conversation like offline with somebody else, do you feel like it's important to be at every moment that your child has? Because when you really think about it, it's kind of like, you also have to make sure that you're responsible for yourself too. Yeah. So like many times as men, since I work in healthcare, I see it every day. I've seen it for the last decade. For some, it's like many times the women are outliving the men. It's always the men and women that have built this dynasty. I've had patients from like all kind of various backgrounds, like CEOs of companies that we use on a daily basis. And the wife is always the last one standing. And many times I'm looking at it from the perspective of to gaining all these things. You got all these kids, put them through college. You got the 529 set up, put your grandkids through college. You got the generational wealth. You broke the curse, right? You did it. You finally did it. But then you're not the one that's around to enjoy it. What are the things that you could have done 30 years ago that self-care wise that you maybe you should have went on that trip with the boys? Maybe you should have established that hobby. Maybe you should have taken more time out for yourself, because when you look at it as much as I do in the hospitals, and it's like, it ain't adding up. And it's not cultural either. It's all various backgrounds, skin tones, whatever. The main thing in common is the gender is male.
I'm about to say, before y'all get into the deep conversation, I just want to say, at that point, I feel like I've done my job and I'm out of here.
Okay.
Like, I can check out and be happy.
Okay.
That was a goal.
So that's the goal.
Definitely take the
approach.
Yeah, as long as my kids are good, my grandchildren are good, my family's happy, I'm good. Yeah. Like, I can leave this earth and be happy. That's my overall goal. Like,
definitely take the trip with the boys, though.
Yeah.
And take the trip with the guys. That is crazy.
Take that trip.
No, you absolutely right. What I'm over there pondering is, I think we have a portion where we might discuss gender roles. Right? Oh yeah, and like men, we feel good. We can die happy if we know we provide it. But yeah, exactly. To that same Superman complex we was talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm. That's just who we are.
It'd be okay if you never could save your wife from anything, but she was good. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if you never got to exude that Superman complex? What if you never got to feel like you took care of you?
I had to save my wife from anything. Well, I'm also ready if I have to.
I think the reality of those two scenarios is that if you're dead and gone, you don't know what legacy you really left for you. You just have an illusion of the legacy.
Bro, but you're gonna be gone regardless.
But think about this though. Like, your wife, let's say for instance, if you could have done something to shift the game to be there for your grandchildren, right? To be the grandfather to your grandchildren. I'm not saying you're dying when you're 90 years old. I'm talking about 60.
Right, cool. We can't even skip this 72-year-old curse. Like, that's my curse is my family.
So 72. So let's say for instance it's 72. There's things that you accomplished before then, but I have the mentality that I feel like men should be able to live long lives that are also sustainable, and also you're able to be present to provide for your family. Because many times provisions, we think of money and we think of housing and shelter and clothing, but provision is also wisdom. It's also we talk about presence. It's like, can you go run around outside with your grandkid and they have that memory and stamped in their brain?
Yeah.
Or is it that your family legacy is that, all my grandfathers passed away, so now I just have my dad now. Or I wish I would have been able to sit down and talk to my grandfather about this. Or my mom and my dad died young, but I wish I had my grandparents present to support me. I think many times as men, we think about work, and we neglect rest.
Yeah.
And we don't have those periods where, bro, by changing your habits of your life, you can literally probably buy yourself 10 to 15 more years.
Well,
just by one change of habit.
We don't really neglect rest. We just neglect it for ourselves because the work is so everybody else can rest. We want our wives to rest. We want our kids to rest. We want them to have to work out.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we don't want them to work as hard as us, but it's like you said, take that day off, go take the trip, go hang out, go play golf, go do something to refresh yourself because you can't just go 100.
I heard the story the other day. Dude worked hard, passed away in his mid-50s, had 2 daughters, accumulated $15-20 million in commercial real estate, various things, legacy, generational wealth, breaking it. Daughters got it, sold everything. It's not your life goal, your life journey is not the purpose of the family or the people that's coming behind you.
Yeah, I would probably hunt them to be in.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Give it away. You gave it away.
They sold it, but it's like the things that you enjoy and the things that you work hard for, are not what other people want to work, but the things that you can really do to be present is to be alive. Like sometimes to break it down, like we try to, we get very deep about being present and all this. Sometimes that means that you got to be present. You got to be actually at the meeting.
Yeah.
And I think working in healthcare and seeing it, like I've experienced, man, I'm like, yo, my uncle, he lived a great, amazing life, but where they met some things that he could have changed, right, that maybe would have shifted the game. And as much as we talked, I know one of those things was stress.
Yeah.
He had a very important job that caused a substantial amount of stress. And so it's like, as Black men, what does managing stress look like?
Bro, that's tough though. I mean, me personally, time is essence. Like, bro, like we don't have that much time to waste, like I said earlier. So, I mean, you just gotta keep the stress. Like, you just gotta keep fighting it, bro. It's what did you do? Stop? You can't just stop.
Mm-hmm. If you have a stressful day,
right? Call it.
Wait.
Call it.
Okay. Why can't we stop?
Because it's not gonna get done. If it don't get done,
But you got help.
money.
That's why you got married.
I understand that, but it's stuff that you're supposed to do that your woman is not supposed to do. Like, I'm in there painting the houses. I'm in there changing out the baseboards. I'm in there, like, this is what I did this week.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my wife is not supposed to do stuff like that. Like, that's my job. So I'm gonna get it done.
See, and that's the Superman complex that we got.
Yeah, I am.
But it helps.
I'm Superman in the house.
But it helps us though. Like, and that's the crazy part, because like the same thing that helps us sometimes hurts us.
Well, that's what.
Yeah.
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 I mean,
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, if my kids are good, my grandchildren,
Yeah.
I have grandchildren, I'm good.
But if I'm working towards that goal, I'll work myself into the ground. No problem. Smile on my face.
I'm
Happy.
freaking happy.
Yeah.
If that's what
Yeah.
your life mission is.
Yeah. Yeah.
If
I
you're-
think it's about what's your life mission. It's like, what do you want to do?
Yeah. Like, I've had some patients to be like, man, I don't want to live well. I want to do. I'm like,
I ain't gonna lie to you, bro.
that's your purpose.
Waking up hurting every day.
Yeah.
Well, why don't
take
why
me
does it
out?
have to be your life? I know I got 90-year-old patients that came to me for something minor, but they do yoga, they run their life, they got
If I'm living like that, I like that.
I mean,
I like
they
that.
exercise every day. Bro, my grandma go on 2 cruises a month, still drive, do what she want to do, shop, go to the gym. She got a personal trainer and she's 84.
Yeah, if I can do that, I'm good. Yeah, I need to be, but the thing is, at 84, you're still going to be trying to work. See, as long as you can work, you're still going to be trying to work.
My granddad,
Don't run.
80,
Don't run. Don't run.
going straight.
Don't run. Go crazy. Don't be.
Yo. Nah, my granddad, he's 80. No, 82. I don't know, something like that.
He broke the curse.
Nah, yeah. Well, he was trying to paint something the other day. My aunt was like, "All right, I called your brother," and he did it. I was like, "Bro, my granddad is still really trying to work.
Yeah, he's still trying to work. Yeah. A neighbor of mine, her dad just retired and started a new job the next week.
Bro,
He had a retirement party and started a new job the next
I'm
week.
telling you.
Crazy."
I'm telling you. So it's like all about like kind of shaping who you are, defining your purpose, defining your life mission, and really like locking in on some of the foundational things, the vulnerability, the trust, like the commitment. Have you all ever had any hesitations about being young, Black, and married? Were there any ever like hesitations or monikers that you kind of had on your back that kind of almost prevented you from being young, Black, and married, or actually helped you? I think one thing that I go first. One thing that helped me the most was like, at a very young age, I had my uncles tell me, "Don't get married before 30." They was like, "I'm 30, don't get married before
I
30."
heard that too, though.
So I said, "Okay."
I followed it. I'm like, I said, I'd rather take advice and win versus work against the advice and fail. That's just my thing.
Yeah.
Like if OG gives me some game, I'd rather listen to the game and fail versus not listen to the game and fail. So I listened to it. And then what I realized by 23, 24, I'm thinking like, okay, I got it figured out. But then there was a shift between 25 to 27. And then that's where all the change in my life about what I liked, what I wanted, where I wanted to be. I moved out to California for about 2 years, lived out there. I was running around the country, living here, living there, traveling for work. And it's like, I look back up 3 years out, I'm like, I wouldn't have been able to do this if I would have possibly been able, So I said, so I had so many changes of like what I liked in women, what I didn't like in women, what I negotiating, like navigating relationships with boys and gaining friendships and being open to this and that. And I realized why the OGs said it, because really between that 25 to 28 mark, you're really still learning yourself.
Right.
I'm about to say,
Live a life that you understand and who you want. So then by the time I got to the altar, I was tired.
yeah.
Wow.
Kaput.
Tired on the first day. I was like, you know what? Both like, I was like, you know what?
Hey,
If I had to go sit in the house,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, and do what I gotta do, I feel like I haven't missed out on anything. I see things. I think that's a downfall to a lot of men. It's like it's really the curiosity. Like if you have that level of curiosity, you got to go live your life. I'm not saying you get it out of your system, but you just don't yearn for it as much as you used to, right? Because you've done some really deep diving into really, really living your life, going out there wild and going to wherever you go with the boys, doing the boys trips, right? Dating the different types of women from different backgrounds. You try to, you know what you like, you know what you don't like. And you've really established yourself. And so I think that too, and all in all, man, is really focusing on this particular conversation is all about vulnerability and trust. Like really, really locking in, doing that deep dive, establishing what your purpose and your mission is, and then being able to apply it to your last word. I saying I just like that up quite well.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
Ask some questions, live life.
That's what his thing. Yeah, boy.
Ask some questions.
But for real though, like that's where discernment comes in.
Ask some questions. I mean,
Discernment comes in.
even like you said, like I'll talk about previous relationship, right? Like where I thought I was going to get married. The thing that holds you back sometimes is making the wrong decision.
Mhm.
Like even if this person, you love this person, you like, man, I know I can see my future with this person, but it's like, what if I make the wrong decision?
Mhm.
Because we don't want to fail. We definitely don't want to fail emotionally and romantically. We definitely don't want that. And that's one of the things that held me back. But ultimately, it was a good holdback.
The other day, they said that the main thing that stops many men from getting to the next level financially is child support.
Hey, bro. Yeah, that's real.
So
18 years.
if you all of a sudden have a $1,200 bill, you can call it a bill because
That's a Range Rover.
Yeah.
bro.
Plus,
That's a nice class.
but that's
bro. That is $600 to your Roth IRA.
Oh, 100%.
That is another $400.
He bringing it down different for y'all.
but that's minimum. You know what I mean?
And then you have a $200 for your plate.
That's minimum.
Well,
man.
you just had that is right. You lack discernment in certain moments.
Yeah.
And many times with a lot of men, like their lack of success and their failures are because of one bad decision that they made.
Mhm.
Yeah. One fight in the club going wrong. One mistake being in the car at the wrong time with the wrong person, doing the wrong thing, cost them a lot. And it's like, or one bad relationship or domestic violence dispute, those type of things that we see all the time. It's like the discernment. It's like you knew good and well during that discernment process or that vetting process that this person wasn't for you.
And if you did,
Based on,
and
based on
and if you didn't, you ain't asked the question.
there you go. Yeah.
Because you ain't want it, but sometimes we don't want to know the answers. So like,
Focus on this, bro.
we don't want to know the answers.
Nah, that right there.
We focus on this, bro.
I'm gonna get you that far.
Yeah.
Even like that, will that lead you to marriage? Like, do people really understand what marriage is?
Bro.
Get married?
Long
A lot of people racing to the engagement for the social media,
Yeah.
and such.
Mhm.
A lot of people racing to the wedding, so
Mhm.
they can.
Everybody want the photo show.
Do you know what marriage entails?
Yeah, because I'm gonna tell you, after the engagement photos drop, and you got 300 coming, or TJ 5,000, and
And counting.
yeah. Then you get married. Those photos drop. Everybody posting the videos on the story of being at the wedding, going crazy at the reception.
That happened. It's just y'all two in the creek. It's just y'all two in the
Right. Looking at each other.
It's 68 degrees and the clock ain't no sun out. You ain't going to no day parties. You ain't doing that. Y'all just looking at each other. What does marriage look like?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all,
That's the part people don't see.
they don't know.
It's like, oh,
And so I think the biggest way that I've been able to be successful in marriage is simply by having someone that I can identify as a friend. And you can turn the power off, bro. Me and my wife have moved places where like something go crazy and I don't got to worry about that. I'm managing like a princess. Like I got somebody, we can go get something to eat real quick, manage the issue, whatever we got to do, eat something in the car.
Yeah.
Still go pull up here and get stuff handled, move into the spot and be good versus where it's like, that's a friend that you with.
Yeah.
Like that's somebody you're going to sit back and you're going to laugh like, yo, you remember when such and such happens?
Yeah.
But sometimes men date married people who are not their friend or they have not established that friendship.
my wife is my best friend, dog.
Yes.
I went to a cousin's wedding this past summer. One of the realest shit I ever heard. I'm gonna close with this. I ain't saying nothing else. He was giving his vows. He got to a point where he said, I love you because I like you.
Yeah.
Whole crowd went silent because they realized they don't really like the person.
Yeah.
Everybody's like,
Man.
Do I like it? And he had all day to practice.
but it was so simple. But it's really for real.
Yeah.
Because then you go back and you look at them, how they interact.
Yeah.
Or like you can tell.
You're like, I like everything about
The
it.
first thing that, yeah. Love is not enough. I'm sorry.
No, love
Most people think love is not enough. If you don't like that person,
Yeah.
it's
Yo, because sometimes in marriage, like I'm gonna keep it a buck. There may be some moments. I ain't saying these are long lasting moments. It can be 3 seconds, 5 seconds, a day, whatever a moment is to you. Sometimes you be like, do I still love?
Hey, you too?
I'm like, you be like, oh, do I still love?
somebody told me the key to marriage was you both gonna fall out of love at some point. Just don't fall out of love at the same time.
There you go.
Mm.
That's it.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, like that's
Get back into love because some attraction.
Hey,
That's
yesterday.
you gonna get it better.
Yesterday.
yeah.
Don't get me in trouble on this podcast. Don't just keep
Don't get me in trouble. And you know what you did?
Hey,
I know what you did. But it's like, yo, it's like, yeah, you have to really be able to like that person. I think if we go around like, and we're talking, we get the wives some shine. You know, we can't like going to the mall without bringing something back. Going to a restaurant.
that's so.
Yeah.
Ain't did that in a long time, boy.
So like, I would say one thing I like about my wife and our relationship the most, I promise you, we can have a disagreement, right? Full on argument. Cool. Nothing go crazy. There's a disagreement debate. No lie. Within 10 to 15 seconds after that, we either laughing about something else,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
but our ability to move on past something, we got PhD.
It's like, what are they doing here? Like, we here for life.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, literally, yo,
Yeah.
if she'll say something and I'd be like, I'd be fighting it a little bit, about 3 seconds. Now I start laughing too. Or we switch the subject and we start talking about something like that conversation just didn't happen. I told her, I'm like, yo, that's something I love about our relationship because I've been in relationships before in the past.
Go to bed mad.
The smallest thing is a 3-day process
Yeah.
of trying to get that
Bro,
fixed.
You arguing just to keep your skills up.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, so it takes.
I'm not
quite.
I should know before. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, I'm gonna call it.
Yeah. So that's what I like about my marriage the most.
He got a 67 kill streak. Cause he said, man,
He locked close to there.
I ain't playing.
What's one thing you like about your marriage?
Like, honestly, like, they're my best friend for real. Like, if we do ever get into something, which I probably count on one hand how many arguments we've been 5 years for real. 10 minutes, next day. Something that's just like, what are we doing?
Right.
You finna leave? Want to wear? What are we doing?
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
I back it again.
man, put on Smart Guy, put on Proud Family,
Yeah.
put on Good Times or something.
Yeah.
He ain't stunting it.
And kick back, man.
All right, where you gonna go? Where I'm finna go?
Yeah.
Like, JD,
You about dog
that.
really.
I actually like you.
Yeah, I like hanging out with you.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like too many people.
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
You can fall in infatuation to fall in love with somebody. I actually like you.
Yeah.
You leave, that might hit me.
Yeah. So shut up.
Let's get it together.
Exactly.
Let's cut it out.
What you say?
So I got a unique experience, man, because I blog. So like I edit and I go back to old videos and like literally I'll see myself and I'm like, damn, what the hell, I'm smiling so hard.
That's great.
But it's the I can tell the time frame, you know what I mean? So like the other day I went down, I was like, yo, just thank you. And she was like, what? I'm like, you just don't see like me since I've been with you. You know what I mean? And even like my family, my friends, they be like, you happy? You know what I mean? And that's a good thing, and that's a good feeling. So
Yeah.
that's what I mean.
You feel lighter.
Yeah, I feel good. Like,
You
yeah,
ain't gotta go through life by yourself.
I feel good.
You feel like you got somebody you can trust. What about you?
Man, that's just my best friend, bro. Like, I can't get as deep as Sam just got. That was but yeah, it's just my best friend, man. Just to be able to do everything that we're doing, traveling, seeing the world. Like that's our go-to. Like we travel together. We
And
love
like
to travel. Like, bro, we're on 14 countries right now.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's just like, and then we started a travel agency too. So we have that going. But yeah, it's just my best friend.
My boy gonna turn it into a business.
Hey, man. I dare But yeah, like I'm telling you. But nah, that's it, bro. Have a best friend, have somebody. Like even last week in Houston, we went to Houston, bro. We had a ball. Like just turned up, have a good time. You ain't got to worry about bringing no chicks to the section or boom. Got you and your lady.
Yeah, there you go.
But it sounds cliche when you be like, "That's my best friend," but it's like that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, you spend a lot of time with that person.
That's the person you gonna be with.
For the unmarried people, you spend a lot of time with your
Wake up crusty and dusty.
I'm telling you.
Our thing like
You communicate with that person a lot. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
like it's disgusting how much me and my wife talk to each other.
even when you're not
All day long.
you gotta
I say we don't even.
Instagram
Yeah.
DMs,
Oh, our DM's stupid.
yeah.
Instagram DMs, the
The memes, the gifs, all that. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So man, to I appreciate y'all boys, y'all level of vulnerability, man, just opening up and talking about what it looks like for men yielding in relationships. The goals you have. They sure. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, shots up. Meet me at the club, 4 o'clock. Encore. Let's get it.
They gonna show that encore.
Hey, what that? Y'all not here. This ain't
6 weeks ago.
No doubt, man. That was a good one, dog.
For my brothers never had an ear to hear 'em. These the bricks for our sisters help us build it. If I could be a black fly on the wall, I can hear and see it all and have the mind of a god. Black, 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 black. Fly, 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 fly. Black, black, black.